Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodelers! We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Japheth, with
Jackie!
And
I'm Josh Damaro. I am the handsome future CEO of Disney.
Boy, you fooled me with what I'm looking at.
I know. I've got a face for radio, face for podcast.
And we also have
Father Yodeler.
And today we are here to hear Peter's trip report going solo.
How many words?
How many words?
In the report, you get an assignment. How many words are in this report?
It's a time limit.
Basically,
so if he goes,
basically when I see all three of you guys start like falling asleep, I'm like, okay, I'll wrap up.
Well, that's the end of this podcast. We haven't even started yet. I have children. All right, but Peter, so you got a birthday present from your wife.
Yeah, early birthday present.
It is definitely early.
Yes, about a month, almost 2 months.
But due to the circumstances of you being in the area.
Yeah,
You had some business in the area.
I had a business trip.
And so who presented this solo trip to Disneyland?
Well, my wife said it first. She goes, "Oh yeah, you could totally just go to Disneyland," and I kind of pushed it down, being like, "No."
She planted the seed.
She did. She totally planted the seed, and then from there,
You said no because dad guilt.
There was a few factors that made me go no, but
these were magic bean seeds, just like
totally. And then the idea came around of like it being a possibility, and I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. And then she came back, no. And then eventually, like literally, like the day before I left to go to California, she's all like, yeah, just go. So yeah,
you had floated it the week before.
Yeah,
you're like, I might go.
Right.
So at what point were you like really wanting to go?
Oh, probably that week before.
Because we did a recording before that.
Right.
And you'd be like, I might go to Disneyland.
I might. I don't know. We'll see. And, yeah.
I don't know if it was going to be like a secret trip and you're like, just feel the wrath afterwards. Like, where are you? And you're like, I'm in line to Disneyland.
Well, my kids didn't know. My kids
didn't. Do they know?
Oh, they knew. Like we
Where's Dad?
We
he went to the convenience store to get some milk, and he never came back.
We FaceTime. I was on Main Street, and they're all like, "Dad, are you at Disneyland?" I'm like, "No," while I'm eating some ice cream. Like, no.
Just Dole Whip is
with a
delicious.
Marching band marching behind me, like, do. It's like, no.
It's just my background.
Right.
I'm really in the bedroom upstairs. Go look.
I'm underneath all the clothes that you need to put away.
So you'll never find me.
But yeah, no, it was like a spontaneous thing and sort of. And so I decided to make it a thing where I would experience Disneyland solo.
Meaning you're just by yourself.
Just by myself.
Nobody else with you.
It was thrown around that I might bring one of the kids.
Which one would you pick?
The second. Well,
the best
first
one.
Well, the
Your
first
favorite.
one. The first one. He was already on a trip. He was on a camping trip.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so I couldn't take him. And then the second born, I wasn't going to take my youngest because
I
wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Boy, what a ruined trip at that point. Yeah, I did Main Street.
I rode all the Fantasyland rides.
Then we hung out in Two-Town and watched my son climb the roots for 3 hours.
It felt like that's what I did by myself anyway, but we'll talk about that. But no, it was like, and I did film some content. So sometime I'm planning probably the same time this episode comes out. I'll be starting to release my video footage of me going solo. I'm sorry, I want to apologize in advance. I am not a professional vlogger. It looks like a home movie sort of vibe. So it's not going to come
You
off
should
very
use a filter
professional.
to make it look like it's a 90s
Oh yeah.
video.
And I do want to apologize in advance because of my inexperience using a camcorder. I'm not purposely filming people's butts. You'll see that when I'm walking down Main Street, my camera's facing down a little bit more. I'm like, I should be tilting it higher.
See, I was trained. I knew you film the concrete ground
Right.
the whole time for family movies.
That's right.
Dad's respectable. Peter,
I'm not.
Peter's still learning.
I am still learning. But so I've got about 2 hours worth of content. I'm not going to
2 hours worth of people's butts.
Yeah, people are gonna be like, "Wow, Disney butts."
that's the new YouTube channel, Disney Butts. You know, so I'll be releasing that in segments. I won't put it all out all at once, but bear with me. But it's just gonna be my experience. I literally went into the day with nothing planned. The only thing I had planned was I was rope dropping Space Mountain, and I was gonna stay to close. That was the only official plans that I really had for the
Did you
day.
meet your
Yep.
expectations
Well,
that way?
yes and no, and we'll talk about that. But I showed up to the parking lot. I was literally in the first row of parking at the.
Did you
Toy
buy your
Story.
ticket in advance, or did you buy it at the park?
I bought it while I was still in California.
Okay.
Like when I was
You
in
bought it on the
California, I
app?
bought it on the app. Yeah.
So you didn't have to worry about. There was plenty
Well,
of
because
reservations.
there was still some hesitancy on whether or not I was still going to go when I was driving out there.
Right.
So it wasn't until afterward that I bought the ticket.
So you bought same day?
No, the night before.
Okay.
It was the night before.
That's still pretty good. I mean, that
No
it was
reservation.
And this was
needed?
the first Saturday in June when this happened. So it was I think it was a tier 5 ticket day, so a fairly higher end ticket prices. I think it goes up to 7. I think that's the highest, but
too much.
I think it was like 180 for a day ticket.
I'm shaking my head, going, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah,
I remember it was $40
Yep.
a ticket back in the '90s.
Right. So, but yeah, I get to the parking lot right as soon as the parking lot opens. I'm literally in the first rows of cars behind the priority
Toy
parking.
Story?
Toy Story. Oh yeah, I never park at Mickey and Friends. I'm gonna park at Toy Story as long as it's still there, which who knows how long that's gonna last. I'm gonna be sad when I'm no longer able to park there.
Well, yeah, because they'll probably close it when they open the new parking structure.
on the east side, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get there, and make it to rope drop at Disneyland. I'm talking with people. That's the one thing I find that when you go by yourself, because you have no one to talk to, you start talking to strangers.
So would you spark the conversation? Or?
Sometimes. Like usually it's like I'll just say something out loud in commentary to something that's happening.
Did you
and then somebody will
seriously
come with
do
me.
the train station in New Orleans?
No.
Where you're like, "Oh, do you hear that?"
No, I didn't do that. I literally. So I did go to that station, but I literally I jumped on the train right away, so I didn't even wait at the station. But yeah, I went there with the plan to. I said it in the video to make myself cry, because I was gonna push myself all day to do as much as I could. And it was open at 8 a.m. till midnight. So
16-hour day.
yeah. So I start off because I knew the one thing, because I wasn't going to pay for Lightning Lane or anything like that. So
you had plenty of time to get everything done.
Right.
That you believed you
Well,
could
and
do.
there's single rider lines.
As I said, you can get a lot done.
Yeah.
So I knew the first thing I had to do was Space Mountain first thing without Lightning Lane, because in the end that was ended up being, I only waited 20 minutes for that ride.
That's cool.
Were you there right at rope drop?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
So you went with the crowd.
I was there with the giant massive
But
crowds.
but if you go with the crowd at rope drop, yeah, you're not gonna wait that long.
And there's no fast passes
Nobody's
users
using-
right now.
And that's why it probably the first 20 minutes, everyone's just walking onto the ride.
Yeah.
And I think I literally, like, when I actually officially hit a stopping point in that line was right when I was about to go into the mountain.
Okay.
So, like, that's where I basically stopped, was, like, right
That's not
out
bad.
there. So that's where I ended up.
I thought you made it. I thought you would at least make it into
The room.
the bay.
But I did get stopped at the merge point. I was literally, I was the person that they said, nope, you wait, we're going to let the fast pass people come in.
How
I'm
many
like,
fast
That's when you
pass
go,
people
no,
were
no
there?
speak
There
English,
was
and
like
then you walk
6.
through.
There wasn't many because most people are smart enough
Enough to know.
not to use your fast passes at rope drop.
No.
Do you just go, I'm with them. I'm the 6th person. You didn't count.
You just
I
have to
know,
walk
right?
real close with big groups.
So I got in and out of Space Mountain real quick, and Space Mountain's always a great way to start your day with the nice adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Then at that point,
8 times, right?
yeah, 8 times, right. Well, we're getting to that. So the next thing was, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I had some options as to what I was thinking about doing. I was like, well, maybe I'll go do Big Thunder at this
You're
time.
gonna zigzag the park early?
Yeah, Matterhorn was closed.
Right.
Tiki Room, Gadgets Coaster. Those were the 3, and obviously Lincoln.
Or those are the all day closed.
Those were all, they were down for refurbishments, and so those were. If Matterhorn was open, that would have been my second.
Yeah. Ride the mountains.
Ride the mountains. So I thought about going to Big Thunder, but as I was walking, I saw Star Tours was a walk on, and I go, let's go for it. And I go ride Star Tours. I get a little sick, and I keep going, and then I make my way.
What was the adventure?
What were your
you got?
sequence?
Good question. Let's see here. So we had Darth Vader.
Getting a little nauseated, getting more nauseated.
Yeah.
And got really
Right.
nauseated.
I know at the end we had the Ahsoka and the space whales
Well,
Okay.
sequence
Ooh.
at the end. I don't remember what the first sequence was.
I always liked the Jango Fett
Oh,
with
right,
the sonic bombs
right.
going off.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
That's my favorite sequence.
Yeah, I think I've only had that one like once.
Really?
It was when they first introduced the new Star Tours, that one was like all the time. It was just that boom. It's nostalgia of the THX,
Oh,
turning
yeah.
up the speakers in the house and feeling the whole rattle of the windows.
Right.
Let's test the integrity of these double pane or single pane windows.
But then from there, I crossed over to Adventureland, went and checked out Indiana Jones just to see what that was looking like at that point. And it was moving pretty smoothly. And so I was like, all right, we'll jump in. I jumped in, rode Indiana Jones. And so I finished those 3 rides within the first hour of the day. Nice. So I think I was like, well, this is going pretty good so far.
Yeah.
And then I head over. And then I was thinking about heading into doing Rise of the Resistance at that time. Because rope drop, that's where most people go, is Rise of the Resistance. And so my thought process was, you give those initial people their chance to ride, and then they go off and disperse everywhere else. And so I was thinking, okay, this is when I'm going to jump in. Then I noticed Tiana's it said 5 minutes, and I literally walked onto the log. Just walked right in.
Did you walk the long route, or did you go into the single rider? Or
The single rider wasn't even open because it was a literal
they
walk
walk on.
I literally walked through the queue right up, and they said how many, 1, and droop, right in.
Usually they won't open single rider till later.
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
afternoon.
open. It was open later that day.
had you been on that queue before?
Yes.
Was the new one?
Yes,
Okay.
this was my second time riding the ride. I will say this: ride that ride first thing in the morning, because nobody wants to ride it first thing in the morning because it's a little cold and things like that. Because later that day, it was a 75-minute wait. later that day.
Sounds about right.
I like riding it like early on in the day because then you have plenty of time to dry off.
I like riding it when it's freezing outside and it's really windy and I'm wearing jeans.
Oh, yeah.
And I sit in the front row because it's the driest one.
It's a special experience. Everybody should try it once.
I like hypothermia for my souvenir at Disneyland.
Right?
No, then after you do that, you just ride Mr. Toad.
And warm up.
Yeah.
Fog up my glasses.
Yeah.
And even after I had finished riding the ride, I got off the ride and it was still a walk on. Like there was nobody in the queue. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And then at this point, this was the turning point of the whole day, was after this point. Because this is when I started, like, when Star Tours was finally catching up to me.
You think Star Tours caused all this? Wasn't like a bad hot dog?
It was a combination of two things. It was one, my medication. I was taking some pain reliever because I had some mouth issues, so I was taking some medication for that. And I was reading on there that it may cause motion, you may cause nausea and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay. So it was a combination of that with Star Tours that really done me.
Did you eat food?
I had some popcorn to help settle my stomach a little bit.
Food.
Well, I needed salt thinking that would salt and Sprite, to help settle my stomach. So I took a break, got some popcorn, and sat down for a little bit and just relaxing. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm feeling a little better. And I get into the line, and I was about to do Rise, but the line was too long. I was like, this is looking more like an hour wait. I didn't want to wait an hour at this point. So then I go into the line for Haunted Mansion instead. And I get about halfway through the queue, and I'm all like, I can't wait in this queue anymore. And I go to the bathroom and throw up.
Ugh.
Yeah. And then after that, I rode the
You really
train.
should have made a scene. And they're like, I am possessed by the demon of this. That would have been the ultimate story for everybody in the queue, except for the person that gets thrown up on. Because you throw up on the person that's been pissing you off.
Right.
Or the kid that's like, I'm going to be on the queue line. And you're like, yeah. And you're like, I'm sorry. I was just recently possessed by...
Protein spill.
Oh,
So after that, I was like, I went over and rode Pirates. I'm like, okay, this will be a nice, just slow, easy ride. I can do that. And then I got on the...
Seasick?
No, well, you don't get seasick on Pirates.
How much swing
No,
is in the
but-
water?
But you were trapped for a very long time, so that would have been my concern.
I was fine. I was fine at this point.
Then you could have gone like, oh, too much rum.
I was fine at this point because usually after you initially throw up, you usually have like that moment of relief of like, okay, I got it out of my system. So I rode that. Then I started feeling it come back, and so then I got on the train.
Trapped. Anyway.
No, and again, I was fine on the train. I didn't have any issues on the train.
Yeah, you get the air blowing through
Right.
while you're sitting in the car.
Right, and it was nice. It was very relaxing. So I rode it all the way around to Main Street, in which at that point, that's when I went to First Aid. And at this point, it's probably about noon when I hit First Aid. So I'd done at least 2 hours of just sitting on benches at this point in my day. So then I made...
What was going through your mind?
Just
Just sitting there. You were like, can I finish this day? Do I want to finish this day?
Because I kept telling myself I'm going to make myself cry. Well, certainly.
You
I
should have
was
just
feeling
kept throwing up throughout the park and like make it a game
How
for
many
us.
bathrooms?
Where did Peter throw up?
Yeah, right.
And then we have like pictures and be like, where? You should have done that. You should have sent us pictures like, where am I? And we try to guess based upon your puke spots in the park.
But I made my way over to First Aid and told them, I'm not feeling very well. Is there any place I can lay down and like just rest my head, to help settle my stomach? They said, yeah, you can come in the back. So they had me lay out on one of those uncomfortable padded table things. And I just laid there, put the hat on my head, and just...
They check your levels at all or anything?
No. Yeah, they checked, like, a little bit. They gave me some water and just let me lay there, and they didn't really bother me.
You should have been like, I think I need an IV. You know.
No, right? But yeah, I took an hour nap at first aid. So, and then from there, I went to go get some real food. And
Do you think they would have been suspicious if you brought a blanket and pillow and be like, I'm not feeling well.
I'm not feeling well. Can I lay down?
Can I lay down?
I'll say that they're not the most comfortable.
That's why I said you brought your own stuff.
Did you hear the music from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
No,
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
hear any music.
No music.
No.
Maybe they don't play it anymore.
You'll have to ask next time you go.
Maybe I'll go
remember.
in, find out.
Yeah.
But I don't feel good.
But I did hear a lot of people coming in and out of first aid being like, "Oh, do you have any ibuprofen?" and things like that. So like they do have a lot of things that they'll give you to give guests to help them out. So they were very nice and helpful cast members. So props to them. And then I just kind of walked out and said, "Thanks, bye." They're like, "All right, bye." It was very casual. It wasn't like,
And this is a free service.
yeah, free. I didn't have to pay for this.
I don't. You have to buy the drugs. They're not a drug dealer.
Right. They ain't giving you free medication. But yeah, after that, I went to go get some food because I needed some food. I had
What'd you
thrown
get?
everything up. I got some, some chicken, some spicy chicken stuff at Golden Horseshoe. Went to Golden Horseshoe. Just got something easy to eat,
Okay.
something simple. And then
What'd you do afterwards? What ride was the first ride where you felt safe enough to go?
I think from there I went to go check out. I walked around to Fantasyland from there. I think that was my next play. Was like, oh, I'm gonna go check out Fantasyland. Just check out those rides.
Because at this point, it's like, what, noon?
Like 1
Okay.
o'clock. And I get there, and Pinocchio was a walk-on. So he's like, yep, follow that. Just easy walk-on ride. And then I walk over, and, I see Snow White is down. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I go do the Sleeping Beauty castle walkthrough. I walk through the castle, and by the time I leave the castle, Snow White opens up, and I'm like literally the second person to ride the ride, it being back up.
Did you just take a car by yourself, or did you ride with the family?
No, I rode by myself. There was nobody behind me, so yeah, I just rode by myself. I didn't do any of the spinny rides. No Dumbo or carousel or teacups.
What?
Yeah,
I know, right?
I would probably avoid those.
And you just did Disneyland, correct?
Yeah, I didn't do California. Oh man, no, California Adventure would have ruined me, for sure.
You just said you were just in one park, right?
Yeah, I just did
You didn't.
Disneyland Park. And then from there, I think that's when I went to Toontown. I was like, all right, I think now's the time to go do Toontown because Mr. Toad was it was outside of its line. The line had grown outside of its designated area, and obviously Peter Pan was long, and I was like, I'll wait to do those later. And so then obviously Alice was wrapped around the side as well, and so I was all like, all right, let's go to Toontown.
What was your favorite ride you did by yourself?
Favorite ride I did by myself?
Or the one that you
Most
enjoyed
memorable?
differently than,
Yeah.
or noticed something differently, or
I had fun doing like Indiana Jones. That was a fun one to do.
Yeah, because you're with people on that.
Yeah. And Space Mountain's always fun one to do.
Did you do a good picture?
I think Autopia was fun. I enjoyed doing that by myself, surprisingly. And I was doing it one-handed because I filmed that one. But no, that was an enjoyable experience. Like, it was very relaxing when I did that eventually.
Did you get to go explore the stores at your pace and look at like different things?
So in the middle of the day,
'Cause that's usually like when you're by yourself, middle of the day when it's super hot. That's when you're like, let me go find something cool to do.
right. So like when I eventually left Toontown, I was like, I'm in the mood for a treat. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a Dole Whip, and then, the next mobile order for Dole Whip was like 2 hours away, and then the line for Tropical Hideaway was like all the way past the Tiki Room, and I was like, forget that. So I went down Main Street and got like an ice cream at the Gibson Girl, And then from there, my wife called and she's all like, "Oh, tell me what you see at the store." So that's when I went looking around all the shops and things like that, because my wife wanted me to find stuff for bring home souvenirs.
Sure.
You find anything good? Maybe you're not allowed to say. I don't know.
No, I think we found some fun stuff for the kids. Like there was some fun. Like my kids like the shoulder.
Characters.
Shoulder pals?
The shoulder pals, because they had the Kronk, Devil, and Angel.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fun.
that's fun.
That was
Yeah.
like, oh, we
That's
gotta
really
get that.
fun.
Yeah, and so we had just gotten a new dog, and we named him Cusco, and so the kids have been on a Emperor's New Groove kick, and so
It's a good
was,
one.
Yeah,
It's a good.
That was like, oh my gosh, we have to get that. So that was probably like the big like, oh yeah, we're getting that. But yeah, went down Main Street and looked at shops in the pin shop, and I looked at some of I glanced through some of the street shows, like.
You had mentioned about a castle was different.
Oh, the Crystal Castle.
Yeah.
So we had a prior episode of the podcast of how to steal the
Or
crystal.
how would you steal?
How would you steal the Crystal Castle on Main Street? It's big. The new one is huge. Like
So
you
like
would
3
need
feet?
you
Like
would
3
need
feet
2
by-
people to carry this thing out. Like there's no way one.
That's why I was
person's
like, you need a
holding this.
cart
Oh,
to
yeah.
really.
Oh yeah, and so that was one takeaway when I walked around the shops. Is I was like, that's a huge castle.
Is it the Sleeping Beauty Castle or
Yes.
the Cinderella?
Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the vibe was different. Like when you're doing the park by yourself, there's this vibe of like, not knowing what you want to do, because normally when you're with kids, they kind of guide you as to what they want.
You read the room.
You read
Yeah.
the room, but when you're by yourself, you're just all like, "Well, what do I do? What do I want to do?
You
I
start
don't know
reading your
what I
own
want to do."
room, and then you're like, "This is getting dark."
And as a person who's gone to Disneyland countless times, there's nothing
Stop
like
bragging.
there's nothing like new that I'm always like, oh,
I gotta
haven't-
do this.
I have to do this. You know, I've experienced everything that if I missed it, it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. And so it became this like this meandering through the park. So like I went, if I counted, I don't even know what my footsteps were, but I was all over that park. Like I just meandered everywhere. Didn't matter what time of day. Like I entered the lands at different times. Like it was just, there was a lot of meandering.
It wasn't very organized.
No, it wasn't. But I kind of liked it that way because it was just kind of like, oh, let's do this.
Impulse driven.
Let's do this. Like it didn't feel like I'm on a mission. I've got to do all these things. And it turned out that I ended up doing most of the park. I think I counted it off, and then there's like 11 attractions I didn't do. And like the attractions I didn't do were like the Main Street vehicles. I didn't do the riverboat or the Columbia.
Or the canoes.
I didn't do the canoes. I didn't do Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, man.
I didn't
that
do
was
it.
probably a
It's
walk-on when you
it's
walked
tough
by.
because-
It wasn't. That was a 20-minute wait when Tiana's was a walk-on.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
can see that though, but like, it's near Rise of the Resistance.
Right? So
Right.
There's younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
Kids, they're
Right.
like, oh, we'll go on Winnie the Pooh.
And that's the thing is when you're at Star Wars Land, there's nowhere really for your kids to ride. Like, it's like
No.
go Millennium.
Or you can go to the island. You can go to Tom Sawyer's
Yeah.
Island. You know.
Well, that's still pretty far from there. So.
Yeah. So
I mean,
That's why you just have to walk really far for your kids while
Winnie the
people
Pooh's
can
the
ride
closest.
Star Wars rides. Because I did that with my kid last time when we went as a family.
yeah,
And so, but yeah, and I didn't ride any of the spinny rides for obvious reasons.
Right.
So like I really, the only major attraction I missed on this trip was was Millennium Falcon. Because
You didn't want another simulator?
I didn't want another simulator. And that one had a single rider, so I easily could have done that one, no problem.
did you want to meet any characters? I know that was something I did a lot when I went to the park alone. Was I met characters?
No, I didn't meet characters.
You walk by any?
I did walk by many. Because I don't even know if this was something we discussed on a podcast or a joke that we just had as a family where we talked about taking pictures of the backside of characters.
Oh, yeah.
So
that
I
was
did-
a joke.
I think it's because there was a picture recently of
Yeah,
like we took pictures and like that was goofy.
Right.
I took a picture of your mother while on the backside of Mickey Mouse on Main Street. So
Right.
we didn't.
So I took a couple of those pictures and I put them on our Twitter page.
So you don't have to wait in
yeah.
line to get a picture from the backside.
So I'm like, oh, it's the
That's
backside
when
of Pluto.
you start setting up a line and be like, no, this is just the backside of
You
the
gotta send me those
character. You
photos.
get no
they're
interaction.
on the Twitter page, so they're
You
already
gotta
posted.
send me the photos.
All right. Oh, you're not going on our own Twitter page. All right.
I don't have a password.
But yeah, there was no. That's not my sort of thing. I don't know
Yeah.
how to interact with characters, so that's not.
You're
my,
socially awkward with
Oh.
characters.
Yeah, as I'm walking around with a camcorder talking to myself. But no, I mean, there was something to just following. I think they call it the Disney wins of just being like, oh, let me do this, let me do that.
I just thought the Disney wins were guest farting in line. But
There's a lot of that too, because like I followed the Disney wins. Sometimes it worked out great, other times not so well. Like it worked, like Autopia. Like I only waited like 10 minutes for Autopia.
Was that morning or
That was
evening?
towards the evening, so that was like the
yeah,
sun was
Autopia's
starting to come
good in
down.
the evening.
Oh yeah, not during the day when the sun's beating on you. Oh, so it was probably about like 7 o'clock when I did Autopia. When I did Autopia and Submarine. So like Autopia, that was a win, and then Submarine, that was a walk on. I literally like almost walked on.
You were
straight
saying
into-
you didn't like it.
Is that
and
at
that was a
night?
fail. That one was like I did not.
As soon as
enjoy
you sit
my
down, you're like,
experience.
I'm trapped and I hate being here already. That's how I feel every
What
time
did
I
you
get
have
on
for
that
dinner?
I had I went over Bengal barbecue, got me my pork skewer.
Pork.
So how many times would you say you walked around the park?
2-3 times.
2-3 times?
Yeah, easily.
Okay, get your steps in.
I will say this: a cool way to interact with characters when we're talking about that is during the Phantasmic show. If you go hang out where like the Hungry Bear restaurant is, that's where all the characters are like prepping for their segment of Phantasmic.
Oh, to get on the boats.
To get on their boats and to go be a part of the show. And so like
They don't
you
walk
can
it off, do they?
no, you could see them right there and you can interact with them. They wave and so like literally the finale of the Mark Twain comes by with all the Disney characters and they're still sitting there waving at you and you're all by yourself. There's nobody there.
Are you on the second level of Hungry Bear?
Well, you can be on the walking path.
Okay.
Like over where like
Ariel wasn't in a bag.
I didn't see Ariel.
That's what they always take. That's what
That's
they do at Disney World.
Disney World.
Disney World, they
yeah.
throw Ariel, like they throw a
She's
bag
the
over
most
Ariel.
paid person in Phantasmic at Disney World.
At Disney World, because they don't do that at Disneyland. She's there, but like they don't bag her. But yeah, no, it was because I had a brief moment where you couldn't film it because it's so dark because it's all, But it's if you want a moment to like interact with like dozens of Disney characters at once,
That's cool.
just hang out right
Over there by the Columbia dock, or
I would say closer to the Hungry Bear, so like almost like right
like
before,
walking
like when
to
you're
Rise.
right,
Yeah.
right before you get to the restrooms. I mean, before,
Yeah.
because that's too far in.
right. I would say it's just
The
that-
walkway in front of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just hang out right there, like it's really cool, and you see the barges, and you see them all getting ready to go out. So like that was kind of a cool experience seeing that. Let's see here.
Can you name the bathrooms you went to?
The bathrooms I went to. Well, I know I went to the one in New Orleans. That one I remember very fondly.
Probably a lot of other people remember you being there.
Yeah,
too.
probably. I was not discreet there. That's for sure.
Should have done it in the queue at Haunted Mansion. You would have created
Protein
so
spill.
many memories. You
Yeah.
would have made the news. Man possessed.
I would have been punched in the face for sure.
Well, you choose your target wisely. Choose a Disney adult. Those guys aren't very strong.
I know.
Let's not kid ourselves. Never see one where we're like, boy, I bet they go to the gym.
Some do.
I know.
We're gonna get some disgruntled bodybuilders like, I'm a Disney adult. Wanna go, bro?
I'm trying to think. I know I did Toontown, and Fantasyland.
Okay, we're listing out the bathroom.
Well, that's what you asked. Yeah.
I know, but I'm just
It was
going.
kind of a joke.
Those
but
were the bathrooms I went.
is
to.
there anything you regret?
Well, I did a number
Not
2 in the
doing.
New Orleans, and the toilet paper was not good.
Our trip reports are getting that good. Where this
No,
is what
was
we
there
have to
anything-
talk about.
Tomorrowland toilet paper is far superior than New Orleans.
Is there anything you regret not doing?
Regret not doing. I wish I did like the Mark Twain. I felt like that was something I could have done.
I probably would go down Main Street and look at all the windows and just take a moment and just really look at the little details, because that's a place where you just blow through every time.
There are
Usually.
so many details.
Oh yes, there
And
are.
once I went and I said, I'm going to just focus. There's just too much.
There
There's
is.
too much. You'd have to spend
You're just
months.
overloaded.
There's so much not even just outside, but inside. There's all these little mini stories that are going on in there. And it's amazing. Like the attention to storytelling that happens on Main Street.
So did you see any shows? I mean, you walked past Fantasmic, but you didn't watch it apparently.
I didn't watch Fantasmic. I walked by. I saw some of the street performers.
Yeah, did
So,
you see
like,
Paint the Night?
No, I saw the part of it. I was doing Fantasyland at night, so I did Peter Pan and Mr. Toad during Paint the Night. Yeah. So yeah, it was like I was avoiding doing shows because I wanted to try to get as much stuff
You
done.
were trying to do
the
attractions.
the only show I wanted to do was the projection show on It's a Small World, which they only did for like the last 2 hours of the night, and it's like every 15 minutes.
Are there other people there waiting to watch it?
Yeah, there are other people there. But like it's honestly like the Disney fans that watch it go, this is what the fireworks show should have been, was an expansion of this show, because it's a show that celebrates the 70 years of Disneyland. And so like they're showing off like the Haunted Mansion and
the
different
fireworks
things.
is more about the movies.
It's more about the it's a 10-year-old fireworks show.
Yeah, it's the 60th.
It's the 60th anniversary
Yeah.
fireworks show, and it's just about the movies, and it's cool. Baymax flies, but like, it doesn't beat the 50th anniversary fireworks show. That was But like but when I saw the show on the Small World, like that was a highlight to me, was watching that, and it was only like a 5-minute show.
It's only a 5-minute show, and they show it like every 15 minutes or
Yeah,
something?
something
Wow.
like that,
Okay.
yeah.
That's easy to.
Yeah, that's easy to work in.
I
here.
almost missed the last show though, because I was in line for Peter Pan, and I was all like, "Oh, am I gonna make it? I'm gonna get real close." And I'm literally like, and on the video footage, I'm literally like running, and they're making the announcement that the show is beginning, and I'm like, "I gotta get there," because that was the one thing I wanted to really.
So
do.
is that like the last show of the evening, and then they close the park down, or?
It was close to it, so I had time for one more ride after.
Okay.
And I thought about doing Space Mountain one more time, or doing a ride that I hadn't done. I'm like, well, let's do a ride I haven't done yet, which was Buzz. So Buzz was my last
Buzz was
ride.
your last ride. Well, that's a good standard, you know.
Because I also hadn't done my shopping yet. And so I could sit in line for that extra hour that the park is open and ride Space Mountain again, or walk onto Buzz and have plenty of time to do the
your
shopping on Main Street.
Yes, you have
So-
to get the souvenirs for the kiddos.
Right. Correct.
Forget them.
So
Those leeches have gotten enough from you.
But
You should get your own.
I ended up leaving the park, and I was literally the last car in the Toy Story parking lot. There was not another single car there.
Is that because you were waiting, or?
Were you on Main Street when they closed the shop doors?
No, I didn't stay to like close of Main Street. I
Yeah.
left about 15 minutes before.
You want to make sure you catch your bus to Toy Story.
Right. There was that aspect of
Well,
it.
you don't want to walk the streets of Anaheim at 1 in the morning.
Exactly. But yeah, I was literally looking around. I'm like, I'm the last car here. I thought that was amazing. I was like, wow.
That's cool, though. You're the last one.
Makes it easy to find your car.
It was it was right there, right up front. So I didn't have to walk very far to my car. But
Would you do Disney alone again?
yes and no. So like, I'm grateful I did this trip by myself because because of what happened, because I got sick. I would have hated it to hold one of my kids back because
Oh, no, I would
sick.
make him be like, hold my hand, I don't feel good. Dad is feeling faint. He's not going to make it. He's got the yellow fever.
So from that point of view, I'm glad I did that by myself, and I did enjoy the freedom of just like, oh, I'll do this. Oh, let's take a look over here, and I'm gonna take a look at this and point out this, and like there was that fun aspect of it that I love the meandering. I do enjoy a good meander around Disneyland, but you do miss out on some things when you go by yourself. You miss somebody to talk to. You end up talking to strangers. And so I made a lot of quote unquote friends.
And they all kind of
cute
start
friends.
sidestepping you, going, "Oh, that's nice."
I know, right? I helped some out because like there was this one family,
Did you drop the podcast name at all?
I did. Well, because I was wearing the podcast shirt.
Oh, nice.
And so people were like, oh, you don't see a lot of Matterhorn merchandise. I'm like, it's not Disney merchandise. This is my podcast. And they're like, oh, okay.
Okay, get away.
Another Disney podcast. No. We're ranked 22nd on park topic episodes.
And Disney Plus reviews. Right.
Yeah.
So there were some of those like, oh, okay.
We gotta get T-shirts that say that, right?
I know.
And then put Velcro as it
so it
changes.
changes, yeah.
Like I would say,
Absolutely.
probably the best conversation I had was with this couple at Rope Drop. They were Disney fans, and we were kind of nerding out because they had just dropped the news about the expansions of Avatar and things like that. So we were talking about that, and so yeah, like it's fun to talk with fellow Disney fans. It forces
Without
you
getting a weird look.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about Disney again.
But every once in a while you get to the point where like you'll throw out suggestions to people to be like, because like there was this family that like they didn't want to wait in line at Rise of the Resistance, and this was in the morning, and I was sitting there and I was like, well, Tiana's is a walk on right now. They're like, oh, it is? I'm like, yeah, you can walk right onto the ride right now. And they're like, oh, okay, thanks. Like
You
have
tell
those-
that to everybody in front of you at Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
Oh, this is.
you don't have to wait.
You
there.
got 3 hours to wait from this point, but Tiana's a walk on. You tell
Exactly.
everybody, clear your
Come
path.
back later. It'll only be 30 minutes.
It's like I love the moments where there's Fresh Bake. He's a YouTuber
Yeah.
and he does a lot of analytics, and he'll look at every line and he'll be like, "This is a terrible line. This is a no-go." And I just see families going, "What?"
As they enter, it's like you become that tour guide at Disney or at the museum where they're like overhearing like the guide going all this. Like you start off with a group of 5 and it ends up being a group of 20, but he's just got this following throughout the park. Like, that's a good one. Oh, thanks, appreciate it. He should start his own app, with all his
Right.
analytics.
He
and
is
saying,
actually.
Yeah, he did announce.
He's
He just
announced
announced he's
that.
working on some sort of app.
So, did you have any good interactions with cast members that were memorable?
I think all the cast members I interacted with were very pleasant. I didn't have any negative experiences.
you should go to
with
City Hall
anyone.
by yourself and just form a complaint about an imaginary cast member.
Jafar. Yeah.
Just act
up-
so
Just
crazy.
make up cast members.
Just make up cast member
You
names.
that evil queen is such a meanie person.
Yeah. just
to waste guest services.
just create a crazy
And they're
story.
like, I can't find Tom at Adventureland.
Yeah, where's Tom? I looked all over for Tom Sawyer. He's not on his island.
You should be like Pat from Auburndale, Florida, which is like the generic badge for everybody forgets their badge at Disney World.
Where's the meet and greet for Figment? You know?
Right?
It's
Where's
at City
Harry
Hall.
Potter? Where's Harry Potter? He was here last time. I remember.
I took the monorail to it. Like I did it and just go and just see how long it takes them to
Oh
zone out.
man, yeah.
Any quick tips that may be a little bit different for the summer?
Honestly, like the things I took away from this trip, there's a few things I kind of took
I
away.
took something from the Emporium. I took something from the magic shop. Now you see it. Now it's in my pocket.
Right? Obviously, doing solo Disney is going to be a unique experience compared to doing it with your friends and family, because if you're a person that has a hard time making decisions, it's probably not a good thing for you to do.
I can't decide.
It really is.
I'm frozen.
It really is.
Stuck in Main Street. I can't decide.
It really is. Like, if I wasn't who I was, I probably would feel that way.
Oh man, it must be awesome being Peter.
I'm horrible. At making
You're
decisions, so.
you're such a great person to do a solo day. No, I'm just teasing you.
But I formed an opinion about Rise of the Resistance that might be an unpopular opinion. I know, right?
Say it.
Peter with a controversial
Have a con-
opinion.
Let's be canceled.
Great attraction.
Let's not get canceled for
We
a
need a
right
but-
opinion. Like,
We need a Chapek animatronic in there.
I know that would make it.
hey, go to the store. Spend more money.
Right. I just feel that like when you get into Rise of the Resistance, you are basically committing an hour of your time for that, no matter what. Even if it says it's a 20-minute wait, you are going to commit an hour of your day.
It's a long attraction
At
to begin
least.
with.
Yeah.
Because the attraction itself, like even if you walked onto the ride, you're still 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes of your day if you walked on.
It's kind of like that with Pirates. You're committing 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's like a 15.
Yeah.
And so even if you're walking on,
Yeah.
by the time
It's-
you get off the ride, you're like, you say it's 20.
If you're
to
if
35
you're dead
minutes.
tired, that's a dangerous ride
I
to be
know.
on.
Because you get off the ride and you're like, I'm
I'm on the ride and it's kind of rocking and I'm going.
And it's got the
It's
smells of
dark.
the water. And you're like,
Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta be smart about how you end your day. You gotta end your day on some adrenaline, or bright lights or something. You know.
I'm epileptic. This is the quickest way out of the park.
But it's just one of those things that it's just I don't know if it's worth going to do every single time doing Rise of the Resistance. I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, I did do it last time.
Well, I
went
can
with my
understand
because I would have done it by
that.
myself.
It's the same
If
feeling I
you've
have
done
about
it.
If you've done it multiple times, you get your fix and you're like, I'm good.
like it's amazing ride and it's fun, it's great, but like you are
It's a
committing
commitment.
over an hour of your day to
Can
this one
Indiana Jones
attraction.
be in that same group as well?
It can be.
It can be.
If the line is ridiculous and you don't have a lightning lane, then you may want to.
But you can get through Indiana Jones you can be in and out in 20 minutes
That's true.
of Indiana Jones, because the attraction itself is not that long. So, because it's a fast-moving attraction, and so like
It's just a long walk.
it's just a long walk. That's all it is.
I mean, it would be like similar to like soaring, right?
Soarin's a big one.
That's a long one.
That's or Cars.
Yeah, Radiator Springs.
That's what I'm gonna compare Rise to the Resistance to. Is it's a great ride. I don't know if I can do it.
Do
Every
you think
single
Disney
time.
needs more of those type of rides?
No, They need more smaller rides like Mater. Like those rides are fun. And they're simple and they don't take up a lot of space. And
So now all our rides are going to be like Mater rides, but they're like Snow White dwarves. And they're like,
I'm spinning in a
we heard
cart."
you, Peter, from the podcast, and here you go, more Mater. And you're like, you were nauseous before. Now you've got 6 of these rides.
The funny thing is I don't get nauseous riding Maters. So
I mean, I am excited for the future expansion to California Adventure just to ease up on Radiator Springs.
Well, they just need something else there.
They need more.
It's just not.
they need more.
what-
Come on,
people eaters.
Luigi's was pulling its weight.
Didn't they just redo the entrance, the scanners and
Yes,
everything?
and I did film that.
How was that experience?
Very smooth. I had my Magic Band, but it was very smooth. I walked right up. I scanned it. The machine takes your picture for you, so you just hit the button. It takes your picture, and you walk right in.
So there's no attendant there, or
There
there's
is, but they're there just for people who don't understand technology.
There's probably
Okay, they're there
one
for me.
attendant
All right.
for
But
a
it's
couple.
It's very simple.
very simple.
It's very simple. You walk up, you'll scan your ticket or whatever, and then it'll take the little iPad will be there. You hit take picture, and then you just walk right in.
okay.
It's the getting in is far more efficient than it's ever been. You no longer have to do the side walk through the turnstiles.
There's no turnstile.
Nope, it's just a gate.
Do you still hear Tinkerbell?
No,
Oh, they got rid of Tinkerbell?
yeah, that's gone.
Now that's a reason to go to City Hall.
I still think you should make up an imaginary cast member and come up with a crazy story.
Right.
Maybe that could be an episode.
I expect Tinkerbell to greet me every time I come into Disneyland.
But again, I don't know when or if I will be in a situation where I'll be going to the parks by myself. Maybe if me and my wife, our plans of moving to Florida happen, that might happen more often. But
I was
until
hoping you were
then-
going to say, well, if my wife dies and my kids leave me. I was getting worried, like, maybe.
Well-
what's this maybe going to get us?
Well,
This is
I mean, if that
extreme.
happens, well, there'd probably be a lot of that while I'm dealing with my depression. Sure.
Jeez.
Crying into his churro.
This episode turned real dark.
Welcome to Japheth hosting this episode. Taught you all a lesson, didn't I?
I just want to talk about the bathrooms.
The Esplanade. They've got the music box music. Did you hear that when you were leaving, or?
I didn't hear the music box itself.
Okay.
I did hang out in the Esplanade at night because I did like a night view of they've got this giant display in the middle of the Esplanade, so I did.
It's basically a music box. Is
Yeah.
the idea. And they
Yeah.
used to play the music box music all day long, but apparently it was driving everybody mad because it's kind of sleepy music box music.
Right.
And so they changed it to where they just play it at night, is what I heard. So I was just
Gotcha.
curious if you
I don't-
heard it.
I don't know. I'll have to go back to the recording, but I think it was just general Disney music that was
Okay.
playing when I was there doing my last circle of the Esplanade. But I think the atmosphere was fun. The crowds weren't that bad. Like I took probably a good 7 hours worth of breaks on the day, and I got most of the park done.
Did you like the 70th decoration?
Yeah, they were great. I mean, the castle looked great. Everything looked good. The 70th anniversary costumes that the characters wear looked great. Like, I liked the vibe that they were going for. I'm glad they kind of went away from like, this is the platinum anniversary where everything's gonna be platinum, like that sort of.
They went away from color.
They
or,
went like the
the traditional theme.
right.
Yeah, no one really bid on the topaz, like,
Right.
anniversary.
Exactly. Like it was okay. Like the 50th was gold. Everything was yellow, and then the diamond
for
anniversary.
60.
But I'm glad they didn't do that. They went more for like it's a party.
Emotion.
They went for more party vibes. So I did like that vibe. And I think that's the general vibe that they're going for with this celebration, is that this is meant to be like a birthday party sort of thing.
Nice.
And I think you get that with the different offerings that they're offering with Paint the Night and the fireworks show and things like that.
Well, it sounds like you had a great
Yeah, it was
experience, unique,
Yes, very.
and you have stories, and that's what's great about going to Disneyland is you create these stories, or you get these stories either by yourself or with people. So, any last thoughts before we take off?
Just keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. I'm going to be posting a video from the trip, probably 4 or 5 different videos, because it's about 2 hours worth of content. So I don't think you guys want to sit through 2 hours all at once. So
I do.
all right, more power
On
to you.
repeat.
On repeat. Some people are like that.
All right. Well, please follow us on our social medias. Like Peter says, we're dropping some new content here and there. And then with that being said, Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember...
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.